Here is how this actually works. You spend $2,000 on furniture. You have the money sitting in your checking account. You wait for your bill to arrive, and the moment it does, you pay the full balance. No interest, no late fees. You did exactly what every financial publication in America tells you to do. 3 days later, your phone buzzes. Your credit score dropped 25 points. This is not a glitch. This is the system working exactly as designed. The reason your score dropped is not because of what you owe. It is because of when the system looked. And the gap between those two moments is quietly costing millions of Americans access to better interest rates, better loans, and lower insurance premiums. Today we are going to talk about the architecture of the credit scoring system. Who takes the snapshot of your finances, when they take it, and exactly what it costs you when you let them take it on their terms instead of yours. 4 problems. 1 protocol. Problem 1, the snapshot, not the movie. Most people carry a mental model of credit bureaus that looks like surveillance. They imagine Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax watching a live feed of every transaction, every payment, every dollar moved in real time. That model is wrong, and the gap between the model and reality is where the confusion lives. Here is how a credit card billing cycle actually works. Your cycle runs from, say, the 1st to the 30th of the month. During those 30 days, you are spending on groceries, gas, and subscriptions. Your balance climbs steadily. On the 30th, the cycle closes. The bank generates a statement, the PDF bill that lands in your email inbox. That closing date is called the statement date. And the balance printed on that statement is the number the bank transmits to the credit bureaus. That number gets locked into your credit report for the month. Your due date, the day you actually pay the bill, typically falls 25 days later. So you might carry a balance of $3,000 on the 30th. That number gets reported to every bureau as your current debt load. You then pay the full balance on the 20th of the following month. The bureau already recorded $3,000. Your payment, however punctual, does not erase it. The bureau is not watching a movie of your financial life. It is looking at a single photograph, one frame, taken before you cleaned up the room. This is why people who are genuinely responsible, people who pay in full every month, people who carry zero interest, will open a credit monitoring app and find their score has dropped after a large purchase. They feel punished for using the product correctly. In a narrow sense, they are. The system is not malicious. It is bureaucratic. It reports yesterday's news in a world where you are living in real time. But the implications of that lag are not trivial. The fix is called the statement date adjustment. Instead of waiting for your bill to arrive and then paying it, you pay it before it is generated. 3 to 4 days before the statement closing date, you manually pay down your balance. When the statement closes on the 30th, the bill generates with a near zero balance. That near zero number is what gets transmitted to Experian and the rest. You use the card normally throughout the month. The record shows you barely touched your limit. You manipulated the photograph. Problem 2, the 30% wall, credit utilization. The ratio of what you owe to what you are permitted to borrow accounts for 30% of your FICO score. That is the second largest slice of the pie, behind only payment history at 35%. Think about the weight of that number. Nearly 1/3 of your entire financial reputation is determined not by how long you have had credit, not by what types of credit you carry, but by how much of your available limit you are currently using. In the month a large purchase hits your statement date, that 30% slice can compress your score faster than almost anything short of a missed payment. The math is simple division. Your current balance divided by your credit limit. If you owe $500 on a $1,000 card, your utilization is 50%. And here is where it becomes tiered. Above 30%, the scoring model flags you as a risk. Lenders begin pricing you as someone living close to the edge. Above 50%, the score treats you as a crisis candidate. Near 100%, your score enters freefall. These are not opinions. They are baked into the algorithm. Here's the part that surprises most people. This calculation applies to both your overall utilization across all cards combined and to each individual card's utilization separately. You could have $50,000 of total available credit spread across 6 accounts. But if one single card with a $500 limit is maxed out, your score suffers. The algorithm flags that one account as a distress signal regardless of your aggregate available credit. I have watched people with 800 credit scores drop into the 740s because they booked a family vacation on a card with a low limit. No missed payment, No new loan applied for. Just a utilization spike on a single account that crossed a threshold on the wrong day. The panic sets in because they do not know why it happened. They open the app, see the drop, assume fraud. The explanation is cold math, the 30% weighting executing on one isolated account. The good news is that utilization has no memory in the most widely used scoring models. Unlike a missed payment, which can haunt your report for 7 years, utilization resets with every new statement. If you ran 90% utilization in January and your score collapsed, then paid everything down to 5% in February, your score recovers as if January never happened. This makes the statement date adjustment extraordinarily powerful. You are not correcting a permanent scar. You are correcting the current data point. Problem 3. The zero trap. Here's the mistake that catches the disciplined ones. If you pay your entire balance 4 days before the statement closes, the statement generates showing a balance of $0. You feel excellent about this. You are debt-free on paper. The FICO algorithm, however, is mildly confused by you. The scoring model is designed to evaluate how you handle debt. If your report shows 0 owed on every account month after month, year after year, the model has no behavioral data to work with. It cannot observe you managing credit because from its perspective, you are not using credit at all. A borrower who appears to use no credit is counterintuitively slightly riskier than one who uses it consistently and conservatively. Data from my FICO shows that borrowers in the highest scoring tier, those averaging 850, carry an average utilization of 4 to 7%, not 0, 4 to 7. There is a strategy for this called all 0 except 1. If you carry 5 credit cards, pay 4 of them to 0 before the statement date. On the 5th, pay it down to approximately 1% of the limit, a $10 balance on a $1,000 card, a $20 balance on $2,000. Let that small number be the one the Bureau sees. That $10 balance tells the algorithm 2 things simultaneously. You are actively using credit, and you are using almost none of it. This precise mathematical state extracts the highest possible score from the amounts owed category. The terminology confusion is worth pausing on. Reporting a balance is not the same as carrying a balance. The statement closes with a $10 balance, which gets transmitted to the bureaus. You have until the due date, typically 25 days later, to pay that $10. Pay it by the due date, and you pay 0 interest. The credit score sees a healthy, active account. Your bank account loses $10 for 3 weeks. If you are not actively applying for a major loan, keeping your utilization naturally below 10% is sufficient to stay above the 760 threshold. But if you want the 800 and above range, you manage the 1%. Problem 4. The execution trap and the line you cannot cross. The strategy is clear. Pay before the statement closes. Leave a small balance. Pay the remainder by the due date. In practice, this requires a piece of information that credit card apps deliberately obscure: your statement closing date. Apps are designed to display the due date prominently. That is the date that generates late fees and interest revenue. The closing date is buried in the Statements tab, printed on past PDF bills under Billing Cycle Ends or Next Closing Date. Find it, record it. Set a calendar reminder 2 to 3 days in advance. On that reminder day, log into your account, check your current balance, and manually initiate a payment that brings the balance to your target, roughly 1% of the limit. Do not rely on standard autopay for this. Autopay is set to the due date. It is a late fee prevention mechanism, not a score optimization mechanism. You have to take manual control of the timing. After the statement closes, verify that the number on the bill reflects your target balance. Then let that remaining balance clear before the due date. Now here's the line. There is a behavior that looks superficially similar to this strategy, but is categorically different in the eyes of the bank. It is called credit cycling. Credit cycling occurs when you spend to your limit, pay down mid-month, spend to your limit again, pay down again, all within a single billing cycle. If your limit is $1,000 and you spend, pay, spend, pay, spend in the same month, you have run $3,000 through a $1,000 card. The bank extended you a $1,000 limit because that is the risk exposure they calculated for you. When you cycle beyond that limit, you are forcing them to absorb transaction volume they never agreed to underwrite. Their fraud detection systems read this pattern as a marker of bust-out fraud. The consequence is not a score drop. It is a frozen account, a forced financial review, or permanent account closure. The distinction matters precisely. Paying before the statement date to manage what the Bureau records is timing optimization. Cycling through your limit multiple times in one cycle is circumventing the bank's risk model. One is curating the photograph, the other is breaking the camera. If you find yourself regularly cycling through your limit just to keep using the card, the solution is a credit limit increase, not a smarter payment schedule. Call the issuer. Note your consistent payment history. Request a higher limit. A $20,000 limit makes $1,000 monthly spending roughly 5% utilization. The strategy becomes irrelevant. One structural point before we close. Do not close old credit cards in the name of financial simplicity. Utilization is calculated as your current balance divided by your total available credit. Closing an old card with a $10,000 limit and a zero balance removes $10,000 from your denominator. Your debt stays exactly the same. Your total available credit shrinks. Your utilization ratio spikes immediately for no reason other than administrative tidiness. Old cards cost nothing to keep open. Put a small recurring charge on each of them. A streaming service, a monthly subscription of any kind. Set them to autopay and leave them alone. They sit quietly, padding your total credit limit and signaling active account use. They are doing invisible work for your score every single month. Here's the full protocol. Find your statement closing date for every card you carry. Target a reported utilization below 10%. 3 days before each statement closes, log in and pay down the balance to that target range, leaving a small nominal amount on one card rather than zero. Let the statement close. Verify the number. Pay the remainder before the due date. Do not cycle through your limit. Keep old cards open. The banking system rewards people who understand how it actually operates, not people who follow the simplified version printed in the disclosure documents. Understanding money is your best defense.